Hey, good afternoon, Aditya. Good afternoon, Ganesh. Thank you so much for joining this session of ours where we are going to discover about the customer success story of U Digital and how AWS and DataStax have partnered together to make this a success and move U Digital under the leadership of Aditya into production. So let me quickly introduce the speakers today. So we have Ganesh. Ganesh has a background in nurturing products within startup environments. Ganesh brings nearly 7 years of tenure at Amazon to his role as senior solutions architect. In his current capacity, he leads partner sales initiatives catering to all India startups, leveraging his tech expertise to steer them through their AWS journey. And Ganesh is rewarded with many awards for the great work that he has done, and he's a database subject matter expert. We also have Aditya. Aditya is he's the head of engineering at U Digital. Been in product building great products all through a developer in heart. He actually co-founded and scaled up an edtech company to $2 million ARR without any venture capital, fully bootstrapped. That is commendable, and that served over 20 million unique users through various systems. And then this is all architectured from the scratch. He has worked in some of the most complex technology systems, such as streaming, real-time communication, code compilation, virtual currencies, payment systems, social networks, and whatnot. He has written many blogs in the earlier stages. I've read a few of them. It's so awesome, and thank you so much for both of you to be here, Aditya and Ganesh.
Thank you, Henry, for doing this. Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you, Henry.
Yeah. So, Aditya, just wanted to know a little more about your passion for technology, and please share your experience as a product head and also leading the engineering all through your career. Over to you, Aditya.
Okay. So my journey started when I was 17. I sold the first web application, which was a .NET app, to a local coaching center, and I was like just amazed by the first income I made at 17. So that's how the obsession with tech started, or our passion for the tech started. And then throughout my career, I've been lucky enough to be at the intersection of product engineering and growth. I mostly work with startups, and that's where you don't need to think only like an engineering leader or an engineer or a developer. You have to kind of combine everything at once. So I kind of joke about it. I say that I'm like a product manager in the morning, an engineering manager in the afternoon, and a developer in the night. So this is my distribution of the day. And uh, you know I believe in building products that provide the best user experience possible, but also taking a fundamentally lean and pragmatic approach on the business side. Thinking about cost, thinking about all the other considerations like developer experience and whatnot. And I do this by doing extensive documentation, back of the envelope calculation, an observability first design, and bunch of other practices like playbook that kind of I execute throughout. So yeah, I'm very passionate about building products and solving problems that are really close to users. Yeah, that's it. That's a quick introduction. Over to you, Henry.
Wow, that's awesome, Aditya. Really good to know, how you change the roles, wear the different hats, and wear the different lens. Yeah, that's how it works, and that is how the startups work as well, right? I mean, that is we are always on the drive or on the run. So, Ganesh, just wanted to know how AWS works towards democratizing generative AI, and that is the most sought after topic nowadays for the developers and also to the startups and the enterprises. So just wanted to know what are the tools available from AWS and ISP partners like DataStax to all the businesses.
Sure, Henry. But first of all, Aditya, that was certainly very inspiring. I think this is one of the most important reason for me because I personally love our startup ecosystem, and hearing your journey, it's truly inspiring. But yeah, coming to your question, Henry, At AWS, we have played a key role in democratizing ML and making it accessible to anyone who wants to use it, including more than 100,000 customers of all sizes and industries. Startups like Huron AI, Cricket AI, Thea Insights, Althea AI, Forethoughts are all already using AWS for generative AI. We think about GenAI as having three macro layers, and they are equally important. To start with the bottom layer of GenAI stack is the infrastructure that you require to train and run large language models, also called as LLMs, and other foundational models, the FMs in per se, right? AWS is relentlessly focused on providing everything customer needs to build their own models, from the highest performance GPU-based Amazon EC2 P5 instances, including the latest NVIDIA GH200 Grasshopper superchip, to continued investments in AWS Trainium, which is a purpose-built accelerator for training machine learning models, and AWS Inferentia, which is our accelerator optimized for running inference on those models. It's all there, right? And with Amazon SageMaker, customers can leverage this compute to build, train, and run LLMs and other FMs efficiently and cost effectively. That was the bottom layer. Now, coming to the middle layer, AWS is investing in the middle layer of GenAI stack to make it easier for organization to access a powerful and diverse set of LLMs and other FMs. So, Amazon Bedrock is the easiest way to build and scale generative AI applications. With Amazon Bedrock, it is easy to customize your generative AI application securely with your proprietary data. Bedrock provides access to broadest choice of foundation models from leading AI companions like AI21 Labs, Anthropic, Cohere, Meta, and Stability AI, as well as Amazon's own Titan models like Titan Image Generator, Text Express, multi-model embedding, so on and so forth, right? And then comes our top layer, wherein at the top layer we have applications that are already built leveraging foundation models so that our customers can take the advantage of generative AI quickly and without any specialized knowledge. For example, we have Amazon Code Whisperer, our AI coding companion, which uses GenAI to help customers build applications faster and more securely by generating code suggestions in near real time. Then we have Amazon Q, which is a generative AI power assistant for work that is tailored to your business. Amazon Q lets customers get answers quickly with natural language interactions, and customers can easily chat, generate content, and take actions, all informed by Q's understanding of their system, data repository, and operations. Amazon Q is now available in Amazon QuickSight and Amazon Connect, with so much more to come. All in all, if I try to summarize, all together with enterprise grade security and privacy, a choice of leading foundation models and a data first approach, and the most performant low cost infrastructure, and our organizations can our startups and our organizations can trust AWS to deliver everything they need to accelerate gen AI powered innovation. That's all, Henry, to answer your question on the generative AI democratizing that AWS is doing.
Great, great. That's really good to hear, Ganesh, actually. And I think to be very honest, based on my experience, AWS has been a silent hero in this AI and LLM space, right? We're not doing too much branding, but the tools and technologies that are available are certainly commendable. So I have a question for you. Like from a startup perspective, maybe an early stage startup, or maybe a startup that is venturing into LLMs and AI space for the first time. Why should they work with the AWS partner? Like, how can these partners create AWS partners create value for a startup? Or specifically, if we can talk about maybe DataStax, how can DataStax as a partner help startup as an example? Maybe that would be great.
Sure, Aditya. I know we can definitely improve on marketing it well. That's a feedback well taken. But yeah, indeed a very important question and very insightful question as well. Let me first give you a brief, and to our viewers a brief about our AWS partner network first. Our AWS partner network is a global community of partners which can help you innovate, accelerate your journey to cloud, and take full advantage of breadth and depth of Amazon Web Services. As of October 2023, we have 130,000 partners from over 200 countries. Our marketplace is a digital catalog with thousands of software listings from independent software vendors that make it easy to find, test, buy, and deploy softwares that run on AWS. One of the things that we do in AWS is to use our extensive partner coverage for our startup customers so that the partners can take away a lot of the undifferentiated work that a startup may end up doing. Startups can significantly benefit from collaborating with AWS partners. And let me give you three sub buckets or three examples of that. First thing is, from an AWS partner perspective, the startups can help future proofing their business. We know that startups operate in a rapidly evolving world. Aditya, you can definitely vouch for that, right? Our AWS partners can help startups invest in the right technology for long-term success. Then the second point is accelerating time to market, which again is very important for our startups, right? As the startups need to move very swiftly, right? AWS partners enable rapid execution, testing, and optimization. By working with partners, startups can launch solutions with shorter development cycles, minimizing risks and cost. And last but not the least, you can also have a deployment of cutting edge solutions. AWS partners offer cloud native applications that solve complex business problems at scale. These solutions fuel innovations and empower our startups to address unique challenges effectively. For example, DB on AWS, which is an offering from DataStax, can help our startups looking for vector databases for building production level GenAI application on real time data, which is known to deliver billions of vectors with ultra low latency, bringing real time vector data to your AI apps, to the startup AI apps immediately. That's the benefit of it, right? And moreover, the customers and our startups who are already using Amazon Bedrock and SageMaker can basically use Astra DB integrations to build generative AI application that is very well integrated with our AWS services as well, right? All in all, data stacks together with AWS can help our startups get started with a GenAI proof of concept very quickly. In summary, collaborating with AWS partners provides startups with expertise, agility, and access to powerful tools, ensuring their success in competitive landscape. But that's too much, right? Let me first ask a question to you, Aditya. Aditya, you have been talking a lot about our AWS, services and our partners. You understood, right? What we just discussed. Why don't you share your experience on how you digital leverage the AWS platform, and what were the qualifying criteria to choose a technology platform like AWS?
Yeah, sure. So, see, when it comes to evaluating criteria, I'd say, apart from looking for the best solution to the problem, so we have a problem first, or problem statement first mindset, and then solving that problem, is the next step that you will go for. But apart from that, there is a core mental model that I use for, evaluating any solution, any technology for that matter. And that is, like a, you can call it a non-functional requirement in developers lingo, but these requirements or considerations are somewhat like, production readiness. Like, that's the first point I look for, whether this is something that is ready for production or not, or is it too much difficult to take it to production or something like that. So that contributes to the time to market factor, right? What is the time to market? Because we startups have to, like you mentioned earlier, they have to move iteratively. Speed is of importance. And it's all an experiment in startup. Till the time you hit a product market fit, everything that you build is an experiment, right? So we need a tool, we need a solution that allows us to, move rapidly, allows us to experiment faster. Then obviously, since the resources are limited in terms of developers also, so we need a good developer experience as well, right? We are, for example, in Array, we are just a team of just 9 developers building this users. So, good developer experience is something that I look for. Then observability, like I mentioned earlier, we monitor and benchmark pretty much everything. We sleep peacefully at night because we have a very good observability setup in place. And that's what we definitely look for whenever we are evaluating any tool, whether it's an AWS tool or even a third party tool, for that matter. And last but not the least, a startup friendly pricing, because you have to be lean in pricing as well. So that's something as a consideration that comes to us naturally. And while talking about the AWS tools, particularly when we were building this recommendation engine, we evaluated OpenAI models. We evaluated, Azure platforms was very, very new. There was barely anything there. I think they've done well since. But, we wanted to get a tool which kind of offers all of this and the best solution. So we benchmarked, AWS Bedrock offerings, all the Titan models, the embedding models that are available against the market players like OpenAI, and even for the open source models like Wave2 Vec, etc. And we found out that there's barely any difference in terms of quality, which AWS provide. In fact, AWS model, if you look at it, has more number of dimensions in comparison to the OpenAI embedding models. So it became like a natural choice for us, and it came with all the other things that I mentioned earlier. So that's where we went for AWS Bedrock for our embedding model. Similarly, for building our social graph, we're looking for a battle-tested, graph database. Again, AWS Neptune is something that holds that title for a very long time now. And so yeah, that's and we pretty much all of our systems are already built on AWS services. We are using Elastic Cache, API Gateway, Fargate, for orchestration. Then DynamoDB is there. So we were a little biased also, I'd say, towards AWS services because the infrastructure is built on top of that. The developers are comfortable with that. So yeah, that's our journey with AWS.
Hey, thanks, Aditya, for answering that. Yeah, so while we have spoken about multiple technologies, just wanted you to touch upon what were the technologies that were evaluated, and how you chose DataStax as the data platform for the vector DB. Would like to hear from you, Aditya.
Definitely. So, like I mentioned, all the other considerations were there. So we knew that vector database is going to be the core component of this entire thing, of the entire recommendation engine. And so we went out and evaluated pretty much every major vector database that was out there in the market. Did benchmarking on Pinecone, Milverse, VV8, Quadrant, and obviously AstraDB. And we apart, so there was a technical side to it where we were looking at query execution speed, indexing speed, what are the indexing capabilities that are offered, and so on. And there was a non-technical side which covered all the other boxes that I just talked about, all the other considerations I just talked about. So we found that only AstraDB was able to manage all the boxes or check all the boxes, and that's where we thought, okay, and then the solution was asynchronous first by nature, so it was fitting very seamlessly into our system, and then pricing at that time, AstraDB was the only player offering a serverless pricing. You were the market leader in that, and that really worked out well for us. So we that was how we kind of started focusing or doubling down on AstraDB from a evaluation perspective. And then when we found out that it's a Cassandra engine behind the scene, and it supports SQL queries as well. And our team has been a very huge fan of Cassandra for a very long time. We built several solutions in that. So we thought, okay, this is like a cherry on the top. It's already checking all the boxes, and then it's we can also run like SQL queries on top of that. So at that point, again, we kind of got biased. Then we looked in the indexing capabilities, because that was very important. Being a social network, you have to do very advanced filtering on your candidates, in the algorithm, right? You have to factor in who has blogged whom, what are the language filters, what are the inclinations of a user from an interest point of view, what are the interests he has expressed on the platform, what is the interest that platform has captured from the users, subconsciously. So we found out that the storage attached index that was there was already solving for most of the advanced querying function, filtering capabilities that we needed. And the J vector, which is kind of, again, I'll say it as a cherry on the top, which is solving for the compression, solving for the speed, was something that kind of blew us away, in terms of performance. So it was a perfect fit, to be very honest, for our use case. And we just decided to go ahead with AstraDB team. Obviously, when we talked to the team, we got the confidence, that we're going to get the necessary support that we need from the team. And that's exactly what happened. And rest is history. We were able to reach production, by the way, in 30 days window, Ganesh. So that was like a record time, building a recommendation engine in 30 days. So and AstraDB definitely played a very huge role in that.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you, Aditya. It will be great if you can demonstrate this now. So, to all the viewers, now we have a demonstration by Aditya where he'll show, like, the screens, how it works for the recommendation engine that he has built.
This is the product that we're talking about. The app is called Array Voice. It's basically a social network over short audio, and it's a women first social network. And the idea is very simple. You can think of it like a Twitter for audio. So it brings out the same brevity, conciseness that is required from, or that we expect from a content nowadays, but with the element of voice that makes it very interesting. So there's an emotion behind every piece of content, and that makes it a very interesting consumption format as well as creation format. So That's how the platform works. So, and we have organized all the content in form of these playlists so that it's a better end user experience in terms of listening. And as you can see, so this section that I'm just showing right now, which is the popular section where you see 4 playlists, is a section that leverages the recommendation engine that we're talking about. So we generate these 4 different kinds of recommendation, where one is based on the top creators of the platform. One is your overall recommendation, which is your kind of picks, which doesn't have any kind of filter. Then we have best from my tribe, which is basically, best voice spots, best pieces of content from your network. And the last is obviously the latest arrivals, or we promote latest creators as well. So yeah, and so this is basically, this is my account, which I've been using for a very long time. So my recommendations are already preloaded, but once a new user comes in, they have to select certain languages. For example, in my case, I've selected Hindi and English as the languages. And then they have to do certain amount of activity to solve the cold start problem, which is like, you know playing a few voice pods, or liking a piece of content, or commenting with it, sharing it, or even following the creator. So whenever a user does any of these activities, then the system asynchronously behind the scene captures the user interest in our social graph, and then generates the recommendation based on that, using the recommendation. So if you go to any of the playlists, you can see these are my recommendation based on the activity. And there's another feature that I would like to show you, where if you go to a particular piece of content, you'll see there's a feature called More Like This, where it is basically pieces of content which are quite similar to the main voice pod that we're looking at. So, and this is powered by AstraDB, by the DataStax product that we're talking about. And this is a direct ANN search, with a few filters in place, but there's no caching layer, and you can see how fast the ANNs are getting generated. See, for every voice pod, for every different kind of voice pod, you'll see different kind of content pieces. Yeah. So this is the product. If you want to experience this recommendation engine, I do request you to download the app, try it out. I'm sure you'll find it really, really good. And do give us a shout out if possible in your network.
Okay, now to wrap up this whole call, I think it was pretty useful to all who have heard this. Intent was more to actually talk about how the startups work and how they leverage the power of the platform, especially coming from AWS. Now you have heard that AWS has a bunch of products, many options to have, and all are tested, proven, and you have the best of the solutions there. I would like to just summarize, why DataStax on AWS, AstraDB, which is a data platform meant for the GenAI applications going to production, can scale to billions of vectors and embeddings in real time for mission critical generative AI application development, right? With seamless integrations with AWS AI/ML services, Bedrock, and others that are built, which Ganesh also touched upon, and also that head of engineering, Aditya really evaluate about. So this actually enables your entire application stack to live on the same consistent infrastructure and benefit from the vital security standards that are there, right? Like PCI, SOC 2, HIPAA, 27001, etc., etc. And we are also integrated with AWS Private Link, which provides added security to the private connectivity between the foundation models and your Amazon Virtual Private Cloud, without exposing your traffic to the internet. So basically, it's all about relevance. It's about higher throughput. It's all about the response time and the low latency. And I'm sure this was leveraged by U Digital, and many more who are looking for it can for sure evaluate this. And Ganesh, I want you to wrap up with the program that we have right now for startups that we run, so that with that we end it off.
Certainly. Thanks, Henry, for sharing that.
Yeah, awesome. So we have a program for doing the proof of concepts. So please reach out to us. There is a UTM and a scan code that's displayed, which can be reached out. and wish that this was useful. And thank you so much, Aditya, and thank you, Ganesh, for joining in for this call.
Thank you, Henry. Thank you, Aditya.
Thank you, Henry. It was lovely meeting you, Ganesh. We will definitely get in touch after this. Yeah,
Certainly,
thank you.
Aditya. Very
Awesome.
inspiring story indeed.